Kia ora koutou. It is me, Te Radar, with another HRNZ podcast, HR Chats with me, Te Radar. Today, well, what are we talking about? With a recession forecast, university students are now entering the workforce where jobs are, well, not guaranteed. Certainly not like they were over the last few years. Auckland University of Technology's Professor Candice Harris has warned students not to expect their dream job right away in the current market. And they're also concerned about employers halting graduate programs for short-term cost savings. Not all of them, however, are halting them. Vista is about to open applications for its 2023 graduate and intern program. To talk about that and why the programs are important, I'm joined by Anna Ferguson. She leads Vista Group's people and culture team, providing support to all of the group's businesses globally. Prior to joining Vista Group, Anna held a group executive role responsible for people and culture at Cordia, and previously was based in Australia. Ironically, Anna, I expect where some of our young people may well be heading. She worked for professional services firms, including Bain & Company, Baker & McKenzie, in senior HR roles. Kia ora, Anna, how are you?
Kia ora. Thank you for having me here today.
Hey, it's nice to have you. Hey, now for people who are sitting there and going, Vista Group, Vista Group, Vista Group, do I know Vista Group? Tell us about Vista Group.
Sure. So we are essentially a global company that provides software and technology solutions to the global film industry. So a pretty cool organization. We're a Kiwi company. We have a global footprint with nearly 800 employees around the world. So head offices here in beautiful Auckland, but we also have people in LA, London, Mexico City, Cape Town, Amsterdam, and a few other places scattered around the world. That's a pretty cool organization.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I'm just thinking, there are probably some grads thinking, hey, those sound like pretty great, but do I get to go to Amsterdam or Copenhagen?
You never know.
And so it's like, here's the weird thing, I'm kind of peripheral to that sector, but I'm not really familiar with Vista Group. So when you say that's what you do, what on a sort of day-to-day basis, what's the sort of things that happen with Vista Group? What do you do?
So in a nutshell, what we do is we provide software in terms of cinema management software. We provide data analytics. We provide software to support the distribution of films and box office analytics. So all the things that go into the back end, really, of the cinema and film industry. And what we think about in terms of the work we do is we're really passionate about bringing people together to experience the magic of movies and cinema. So that's getting more people into the cinema. That's what we're aiming for.
Brilliant. Hey, look, and there's so much around that kind of field at the moment, and the analytics and how you market and target people, all of that kind of thing. So for a graduate who's thinking, hey, this is up my kind of alley, how long have you been doing the graduate program, and what does it entail?
So our program, we've been offering graduates and internship roles at Vista Group almost since the very beginning of time of the organisation. So we're approximately, a little bit over 25 years old. And we have a number of our senior leaders who in fact started here back in our early days as interns. So it's a really well-trodden career path. But I have to say, over time and as we've grown, we've really turned to reinvent that program to make sure that it's a lot more structured than perhaps it used to be. And we try to ensure that our graduates and our interns get the right mix of professional development and learning, but also on-the-job training. So we want to make sure that they're providing value to our organisation right from day one, doing meaningful work.
And that's really the important thing, isn't it? You know, they are very structured. The value needs to be there. I suspect probably over the years you've seen some intern, graduate programs that may not necessarily have been as good as they could have been. Do you know any common mistakes that are made? Anything that you used to do that you thought, you know what, this isn't quite working, we've rejigged it slightly?
So taking a step back and thinking about a range of programs that I've seen over the years, I think the most common mistake is assuming that you'll get a bunch of interns into your organization, you'll place them in teams and off they go, they'll be fine, they'll hit the ground running. And really what you need to do is make sure that you've got some structure wrapped around it so that You're providing support to the team that's hosting an intern or a graduate so they know how to integrate them into the workplace. And you're providing some structure for the graduate themselves. Often it's their first professional experience. They've got so much to learn. And so we're taking those people who have very little experience, but a lot of potential, and guiding them through.
How many do you take?
Over the last couple of years, we take between 20 to 30 graduates and interns. That's collectively each year. So, summertime is when it gets quite busy in our organisation with our recent graduates or those who are in their penultimate year at university.
Yeah. What are you looking for when they come in? How do they apply? Digital application? Do they come in and sit down and, how are you choosing them?
Really what we're looking for is potential. So we know that these are people, we can't ask all the usual questions that you would ask an interviewee. So when they put their application form in, they come in for big assessment days, as actually we interview them together. We're looking at what their potential is for learning, what their potential is around working in teams, how they'll fit our culture. And we think of them really as how they're going to be additive to our organisation. So yes, we do look at their academics and we do look to make sure that they've got, some fundamentals that they've learned from university. But really what we know is that it's that growth mindset that we're looking for, people that are going to come in and just, share with us what they've learned and then build on that in our organisation. It's really exciting.
It is exciting. And out of curiosity, is there a particular sort of group or an area of study that you're looking for, or if someone, as a graduate, I've just done 4 years of marine biology and now I realize I don't like the sea. Maybe cinema is the thing for me. Are you looking for any kind of area, or is it really the competency and the I guess the sort of the passion of the student that you're after?
So definitely competency and passion is important. Being interested in the film industry helps. But really at heart, what we're looking for are folks who have got a software engineering background. For the most part, most of our roles are in that software engineering space. And then we also offer roles in what we call our software services or client services. So again, they need to have some software skills, but we really do build on what they've learned at university. So sometimes it will be a little bit of what they've learned at university might be sometimes it's the latest and greatest tech, but often we need to help train them up and build up their skill set in what it is that we're working on. And they also need to learn about our organization. So then we know that there's not going to be anyone out there that understands our code base, our customers. We're quite a unique organization. And so we know that training from day one is going to be the best. It's great for our talent pipeline.
Yeah. Hey, look, and that is the pipeline that is important. You're in a very competitive industry. We've seen it. The gaming sector is huge. There's so many startups. You've got it's a relatively small pool of people being hunted by quite a lot of people. What's the importance for an organization such as Vista to have this channel and this pathway through for graduates rather than allow them to be, I guess, picked off by other people?
Yeah, it is probably one of our most important talent pipeline in terms of how we grow our business and develop our people. And we think that our graduate program and our interns, they're also additive to our culture. So we love bringing in those folks that have limited experience, high potential. They come in, they learn our products and services, and then they keep growing and they keep developing. And so for us, what's most important is that we retain them. And so we need to focus on having the best positive, most supportive culture that we can to ensure that this is somewhere that they can see that they've got career potential, career pathways. And so we've provided, quite a structured, I guess, framework that people can see what are the opportunities in front of them. And hopefully we hold on to them for the long term.
Oh, hey, look, and look, the chances are, I suspect, if you don't, they'll go away and find themselves with an organization that may not be so supportive and think, oh, geez, this is, oh, my might go back to Vista, or indeed recommend to their friends to say, hey, look, I got a great start, because actually that's part of it as well. Setting up these great people who may go away and come back, or may go away and send friends or colleagues along to say, hey, look, this was a great program. So for those graduates, when they're thinking, what am I going to do now? I've got my certificate, said I've done my course. Why a graduate program as opposed to just going out, I guess, and getting a real world job? I mean, it is a real world job, isn't it? But is it? What's
I
the difference?
understand.
What's the difference between a graduate program and a real world job, or is there none?
I do think there's a difference, and so I would be balancing up joining a graduate program where you're joining a cohort of other graduates and you're getting exposure to the broader business. So you get the opportunity to see all the different products and services within the organization. You get to meet with a range of subject matter experts. Certainly, this is how our program works, I should say. We introduce our graduates to senior leaders in the organization, so they get to understand all the different facets of what Vista Group is, how it works, how we provide support to our clients. Whereas I think when you're in what I'd call a standard role, a standard entry level role, you might be starting off as the only individual on your own into a team. You might not have quite the same access to see the broader parts of the business. You might just be narrowly focused on that one team that you're working in. So I think there can be, there's quite a range of benefits for the graduate. And I wouldn't underestimate that the support you get as well from having a cohort of others that you join with. You start with a community, and you have that opportunity to meet others in the organization that really set you up for success in the future.
Yeah. Hey, look, times are going to be a little tougher in the next little while. As we said, that, the recession comes and people, they start to look at the workforce and think, where can we trim? What can we trim out? And often, it is these kind of graduate roles. Why is it really important not to look at that as a first sort of cost-cutting exercise?
It's a great question. And I want to start by sharing our experience. So we went through some pretty tough times during the pandemic, while our clients, which are the cinema organizations across the world, were largely closed due to government mandates. And so even in those sort of fairly dire circumstances, we continued on with our graduate program. We recognized that through the course of the next couple of years, we were really hopeful, looking to the future, that cinemas would come back online again, that work would pick up again, and we'd need that pipeline of talent to help regrow our organization. And so we stuck with that program through 2020 and 2021, and we're really benefiting that. I think if you see your graduates as I said earlier, additive to your culture, additive to your organization, you've got talent coming through that, let's face it, are relatively inexpensive in terms of overall employment costs, but provide a huge amount of value. And they're your future leaders. If you invest in them in those early days and train them to support your clients in the way that you need your organization to grow, then that can only be beneficial down the track. So whilst it's tempting to pause a graduate program, actually, I think it's really important to keep it going and just hold on tight and make sure that, maybe the numbers might be a little smaller, but keep it going, and you'll see the benefit through the other side.
Look, you mentioned something just in there that I think is possibly one of the things that people think about, is that here's this cheap pool of labor. We can lay off some people higher up the line. We'll get all these cheap graduates and interns in. Not the right way of thinking, is it? Not
the right way of thinking, and certainly not anything that I would advocate at all. In fact, it takes it's a little bit like taking a village to train and support your graduates. I guess what I'm saying is it's absolutely worth every bit of effort. You'll receive it back tenfold.
Yeah. So I'm a graduate. I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, this sounds like something I might be into, a graduate role, and have that kind of pastoral, holistic care for a couple of years. What would you say to a graduate who's looking to kickstart their career, not necessarily with Vista, but with another organisation that's got a grad program? What should they look out for?
So I think there's a couple of things. One, do your research, go to the careers fairs, absolutely put your application in lots of places. And while you're in that process, you'll be able to actually get a bit of a feel for the organizations. Ask lots of questions, understand the structure of the program, understand how much exposure you'll get to real work, how much you'll be able to do, how much there is professional development through training sessions versus actual, on the job training and working. And get a sense of how does that feel with, what you want to be doing and what you want to achieve. But I also think there's a little bit of a leap of faith when you are finishing up university. It's really hard sometimes to imagine what it's going to be like entering the professional world of work. And sometimes sometimes it's go with the organization that's going to be the best cultural fit in terms of where do you want to work? Where are there people that you feel like you'd really like to work alongside and learn from? And maybe it's not what you thought it might be, and take that leap of faith and have a bit of fun with it. Grab those opportunities that are in front of you.
Absolutely. How about employers? How can they best support a new graduate or a cohort of graduates coming through?
Yeah, great question. How we think about it at Vista Group is trying to understand what is it that our graduates need. So how can we support them in the best possible way? And there are a couple of things that have come up loud and clear for us over the last couple of years. Unsurprisingly, one is flexibility. So we know that our graduates want the flexibility to have to work from home, but we also know that being in the office and having meaningful connections is also equally important, having that sense of belonging. So the hybrid work environment really works for us and for our graduates. We also offer a 4.5-day work week. I have to put that in there because that is one of our benefits that our graduates absolutely love. So meaningful connections is the second one. I think how we support that is through a range of different mechanisms. A lot of it is providing opportunities for our grads to get together and have a bit of fun. Like that's a good element of the program, but it's also providing opportunities to connect with their teams where they're placed, as well as the broader business. So we have quite a lot of activities that enable our graduates to get together with others, whether it be sporting teams, social events. We've got a range of affiliation groups like Rainbow at Vista. And so it just provides them with a way of I guess, making relationships more broadly across the organization, not just in the teams, perhaps, where they're based. And then I guess last but not least is that piece we've talked about a few times, and it's providing them meaningful work. So it is a real job. It is making sure that they feel like they're contributing to what we do, supporting our clients, making sure that more people are going to the cinema. And we make sure that they're really connected to the end result. So doing things like cinema visits, seeing how our software is in operation with our clients,
just going to the movies,
going into the back office at the cinema, seeing how the operations
back office
work.
at the cinema.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, the next time I go to the cinema, I am never not going to be able to think about your graduates and people just lurking around in the thing.
It's a lot of fun.
Look, this is. In the last 48 to 72 hours, I've seen a lot of really weird, very negative Gen Z stories coming out. I've seen people in the States really disparaging them. Political candidates saying we need to strip them of the vote till they're at least 21. These kids coming through are hopeless. This is not true, eh? Why do you think, as someone who deals with young people coming through all the time, why has this suddenly sprung up, do you think, this sort of disparagement? We do it for every generation, don't we? I feel like we're probably similar. We're disparaged as a generation coming through. What should people be really careful of not allowing to filter into their thoughts around that young workforce coming through?
I think, first of all, I always try to steer clear of the generalizations. I think that's the first thing that's really unhelpful. But second of all, I think if you take the our graduate program, and these folks that are coming through, they're straight out of university. They have just so much to offer. They're keen, they're eager, they're really bright. They've just finished this fantastic education. They often have insights and perspectives that perhaps we haven't thought about. And when you think about our industry and you think about what we're trying to do, our end user, our end customer, if you like, are cinema goers. And they're young people too. And so if we have the diversity within our organization, we've got diversity in terms of age and gender and ethnicity, actually that's a really good thing for our customers. It's a good thing for our code. It's a good thing ultimately for the way in which we operate. So yeah, that would be my take on it. I think we just need to steer clear of the generalizations, and also I perhaps am one to focus more on the positives anyway.
Look, absolutely. You've made it so sound like I'm a graduate, but I did graduate a little while ago.
You and I both.
Like, I mean, I don't know if you need anyone with a degree in philosophy. Actually, you do tend to need a lot of philosophy and ethics in the software sector these days. Hey, look, what is it normally straight out of university? Is that what you have in the graduate program, that people haven't come and maybe had another year or a couple of years and then want to come back in again? What's the sort of cutoff point, I suppose?
Honestly, we don't have a cutoff point. So if you're a graduate and you have, yeah, so maybe sharpen up the application. But typically folks are straight out of university. That is the where people tend to come from. But would we have a cutoff? No. So, and I'm all for the folks who want to do a career change. We should support those people. That's fantastic.
Yes, look, absolutely. Hey, brilliant. What's it for you? You're a human person, caring, considerate, kind. What's the single best thing for you? Like a little moment. Is there a little moment that you've gone through all these years that you've seen, graduates and things coming through? Is there a little moment that just really you went, yeah, that's what it's all about?
Do you know the thing that strikes me year on year is when we do a program where our interns have to do a project through their 12-week internship. And every year without fail, I think, oh, these guys are so clever. I can't believe how smart our folks are that come through in this internship program. I'm sure every year it gets better and better. And I don't think I was that capable when I was a university student. So
I hear you, and I hear you. I'm working with young people all the time, and they're doing stuff. I thought, geez, I wasn't doing that either A, at that age, or B, indeed, ever in my life. They're incredible, aren't they? And as you say, they bring a new perspective and a real zeal and a passion. And I often think they're a little bit like children, where they go, why do you do that? Well,
exactly.
We've always done it. You've done it since Gen Z started doing it. We just kept doing it. It's like, oh, those old people. There's a new way of doing things. And particularly in your field, it must have changed so much. And to have that kind of really contemporary, young, very savvy group coming in, exciting times in the Vista offices.
Absolutely. We love it.
Brilliant. Hey, look, it has been an absolute pleasure. I think we've pretty much covered everything we want to cover. Any final thoughts?
No, thank you so much for having me. And I hope this gives others some, food for thought in terms of their own graduate program or potential to do graduate programs.
Brilliant. I suspect there's probably people now popped out for some popcorn as well. Sit and do this.
Yes, make sure you go to the cinema.
Make sure you go to the cinema. There's some great, there are some great movies coming out. We could do another entire session on the changing nature of that as a workplace as well, and how you bring people in and how you get people's attention. But that is probably for another time and possibly indeed a different podcast. Hey, look, Anna Ferguson from Vista. We're talking graduates and graduate programs. It's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure. If there is anything else you would like to hear us talk about on HR Chats with me, Terada, that we have not already covered in the many, many podcasts, by all means, get in touch with Tina or the HR NZ officers. They will let you know how you can, well, it could be you. You might have something to say. I'm happy to chat. For me, for now, that's all. Goodbye.